Peggy Kelly, and this is Good Morning Santa Paula. And today our guest, and today is, I might add, April 8th, Thursday. And our guest today is City Manager Dan Singer. He hasn't been with us in a few weeks, and there's a lot to talk about today. Dan's got a lot of updates for us. So good morning, Dan. Always wonderful to see you.
Good morning, Peggy. Good to be here again.
Okay, great. So why don't we start out with some good news when it comes to COVID this time, and that's the orange tier.
Yeah, we are now in what's considered the orange tier. We got there fairly quickly, which was nice because it was only 3 weeks ago that we moved from the purple to the red tier. And what that means is the further loosening of restrictions, especially on our businesses and on venues like theaters and museums and schools and any place where you would otherwise kind of have gatherings. So for our restaurants, it means indoor dining up to 50% of capacity. And, you know, it's worth pointing out, a lot of our restaurants have dining rooms that are either, you know, private or tucked away in the back or upstairs in some cases. They're allowed to include that. So 50% of capacity, you might walk in and say, wow, this place looks full. What are they doing? Well, it's based on the fire code. So they might be able to have 100 people, but if 50 of them are all in the downstairs, right, it looks more, you know, more full than it really is.
Hey, I had never thought of that. That's very true. Yes. Oh, okay.
But this is a big boost to our economy, especially our mom and pop, you know, businesses, to know that they can start to see a return to normalcy, especially as we hit the spring months and it's so lovely out. This is just a real nice change.
And of course, we're going to still keep our outdoor dining too also, though. We
are going to look to possibly remove the street dining, but support it on the sidewalks. And so we'll be working with our downtown restaurant merchants to discuss some provisions around that. We're hoping to make some of that more permanent.
Oh, that would be great. I think.
Yeah, we're bringing in a consultant to. We're bringing in a consultant that's going to take a look at Main Street and what more we could be doing in that respect.
Now, so then the next tier would be if we keep yellow. Is that what comes after, you know, orange? I guess that makes sense color-wise.
That's
so
right.
That would be another, let's say, 2 weeks that we have to maintain the numbers for at least 2 weeks to move up to the next tier, correct?
That's correct. There are 3 primary metrics that the state uses. We're already in yellow on one of those metrics. We're close to yellow on the other one. So it's really just a matter of the case rate continuing to drop. And on the trend that it's on, I suspect that could happen by next month. The state's also talked about come mid-June lifting most of this kind of colored tiering system. So we'll see what they have in mind there and what comes of it. I think it'd be a little too soon to project exactly where we'll be at. The virus is still out there, but we're really...
People still have to be careful.
Absolutely.
And speaking of careful, though, other good news is vaccinations.
Yeah, and it's great to see that there's really almost more demand than there is supply. I've heard lots of stories about people trying to get those appointments in. We have the old Kmart site here in town that's opened up for vaccinations, and you can go and get appointments online. There's other means of going through your healthcare provider or to some of our pharmacies. And they're even doing pop-up locations around the county. So plenty of opportunity to get vaccinated. It's true that the supply sometimes ebbs and flows a little bit. So right now they're seeing some restrictions in the amount available. But, you know, be patient out there and know that you'll get your turn in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so that's so important too. It really is. Money, stimulus money. What's happening with the city and the stimulus funds?
Yeah, we're so grateful to be in a position to see significant dollars coming to us, some which could hit us by this summer, and then half of it which would come about a year later. It's a significant amount for Santa Paula. In the mid $5 million range, probably about 5.5 million.
Wonderful. Mhm.
As soon as we know exactly the restrictions on the use of these monies, I anticipate going to the city council and conducting a workshop to talk about, how do we want to use that? And I would be somewhat surprised if the council didn't feel important, a level of importance of putting some of this money back into the community. We have a number of people who are facing, difficult decisions with their own water and utility bills, or with possible evictions and rent, small businesses that need assistance. And there's a lot of pots of money that are already out there. And so we want to be as supportive as we can of those, and possibly look to augment those even further with some of our stimulus. So I think the council will have some difficult choices, because I'm sure there's millions more need than there is dollars available. But we're super excited that we're going to have this opportunity to distribute these monies, maybe help some of our nonprofit partners, help our residents, help our businesses, get to some of the pent up needs that we have as a city, like some of our infrastructure, our roads, our sewer and water projects, and those sorts of things. I don't want to get in front of the city council. They'll be the ultimate decision makers. But certainly we only see this as positive.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Well, that's certainly something to look forward to. And
Yeah.
we'll probably be hearing more about this in the next few months, get the half in the next few months.
Absolutely. The whole goal here is to get this money out on the street. And in fact, there's deadlines on,
Spending.
it has to be spent.
Wow.
You can't just put it in the bank and let it sit there. So it's truly designed to be, stimulus. Yeah.
I love hearing that.
Yeah. So we'll see how quickly we can spend that type of money and have it have an impact on our town.
Well, wonderful. And speaking of stimulus, and speaking of money, and speaking about things to do, we've got the fireworks show we're going to have this year. We didn't have this patriotic display on the 4th of July. And I guess the other night at the council meeting, the council accepted the donation from the fireworks committee via the Rotary Club of Santa Paula.
That's right.
I'm excited. I'm very excited, because that's
It'll be so nice to have that event back. And that's not the only event that's coming up. As these restrictions start to peel back, we're seeing more and more people wanting to, get out and celebrate, obviously with the proper protocols. So the chamber and the city have been working on a monthly street fair. That's been the first Saturday of the month. This last weekend was the second month that we did that. Cruise nights are coming back starting in May, and those are the first Friday of every month. Very excited about that. So we're working with the Police Officers Association and some volunteers and sponsors on bringing cruise nights back, live music, a chance to walk Main Street and see vintage cars, and just be with your friends and neighbors. And then, of course, the 4th of July event. I know the chamber's also looking at other events for this summer. And our Parks and Rec department are also really starting to look at ways that they can gear back up with an eye towards the late spring and summer sports programs, classes, events, activities. So it's a really positive sign. Spring is in the air. The virus at this point is dissipating, and we want to continue to trend that way. But it's nice to see people coming together.
Absolutely. And the kudos, as it were, to the Park and Rec department, because they put on a wonderful Easter scavenger hunt. And that was really a wonderful event for the kids and the adults, and the service clubs that helped. And it was very impressive.
It's great to see creativity is alive and well in our Parks and Rec department. They're looking right now at Earth Day, which is the 22nd of this month, and doing something maybe for Arbor Day, tree planting. We're going to have a large Santa Paula Beautiful Volunteer Day, May 1st, which will give us a chance to do some beautification projects and clean up our town. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff that's coming up.
Absolutely. Well, it's so good to be able to talk about good news. I mean, it really is. We've been since we've
been a year, right?
Alan, it's been a tough year. We've been talking about a lot of sad things, and it's really, it's just it's nice.
Yeah.
Dan, is there anything else that you'd like to mention or discuss or confess or anything at all that, as far as any other business you want to address?
We're just happy to continue to, provide more services to the community. We've started not started, but on Monday, we opened up a lot of our facilities that had been closed during the winter. So the public has more access to our Parks and Rec department and our police lobby and to City Hall where they pay utility bills and whatnot. So
great. Yeah, and it's all gradual and everybody still has precautions. Yes. So we keep that in mind. Well, thank you so much, Dan.
Good. It's good talking to you, and we'll look forward to seeing you out at the events.
Okay, see you there, kid. Anyway, I'm Peggy Kelly once again with the Mighty Santa Paula Times, which I hadn't mentioned. And this was Good Morning Santa Paula with Dan Singer, Santa Paula City Manager, and giving us a very wide-ranging update and very important information and good news. So that we always like that. Thank you so much. Once again, if you'd like to watch this, it's on cable channel 10 on the city's cable station. It's also on kadytv.com. If you watch on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it helps us bring you more broadcasting like this. So once again, have a wonderful weekend. Everybody stay COVID safe and smart. And Dan, thank you very much. And we'll see everybody in a week. Thank you.
You bet. Take care.